Okay, we turn now to the Pacific Northwest, where the Seahawks took to practice in Renton, Washington. Russell Wilson putting the offseason behind him. Him and the Seahawks offense, they look to take flight with the new OC, Shane Waldron, while our very own LaDainian Tomlinson caught up with the Seattle QB earlier today.
All right, I'm pleased to be joined by QB1 for the Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson. Russ, thanks for joining me, man. I got to ask you, within the first week, obviously, of practice, how's it been going out here? What do you guys tried to focus on so far in the first week?
Well, it's been great practice. You know, the defense is looking great. Offensively, we're doing great too as well. It's been amazing. Shane's been amazing out there coaching the game for us. We're all on our stuff. We've been prepared. You know, I think that last year going through COVID and everything else really taught us how to prepare at the highest level, even if we're away from each other. And so I think that we're really ready to go. Guys have been looking spectacular. DK Metcalf has been looking amazing. Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson, you know, as good as it gets. The line's been really tough. I'm excited to have obviously Gabe Jackson up the front there. He's a big dude up there up front. So it's been a great thing for us, and you know, it's good to be back. It's good to have the fans back. You know, we've missed them. So for them to be here at practice every day has been really cool for us.
Yeah, so obviously you talk about all the stars you have on this football team on offense. New offensive coordinator, as you mentioned, is Shane. Talk about a little bit, how do you think this offense might be a little different from Schottenheimer's offense, which I played in? Yep. Mm-hmm. So tell me, what do you think it'll be like, the difference?
Well, it's all West Coast. We got a lot of similar thoughts and ideas and everything we've done. You know, obviously we've been able to do a lot of great things over the past several years, and I think that, you know, we want to be able to keep a lot of that good stuff that we've done, but also, you know, bring a little bit of a change of pace and change the look here and there. And I think Gerald Everett, he's a really talented player too. To add him to our football team has been great. He's been looking phenomenal out here, so he can really get open. So, you know, it's been fun for us. I think we want to have the versatility to be able to do it all, and it's going to come through the running game, it's going to come through the passing game, it's going to come through explosive plays and all of the different things that we can do. We have a lot of versatility, and it starts up front. It starts with that key part of it, and it starts with guys making plays. At the end of the day, you know, to go where we want to go, it's going to come down to 1-2 plays here and there, and it starts right now.
You've always been a guy that's self-motivated, obviously. No one has to come out here and motivate you to play your best. Obviously, last year didn't finish the way you wanted to with the tough loss in the playoffs. So tell me, what was the mindset in the offseason getting back to this point, starting from ground one, you know, with this team? What is the mindset? How do you get back to the point where you want to get to, and that's competing for a Super Bowl championship?
I think the bottom line is you got to be unapologetic. You know, unapologetic. You're just going for it. At the end of the day, you know, it's tough to breathe sometimes when you're at high altitude, you know. And so I think that for us, you know, and for me personally, you know, you got to keep going. You got to keep believing. You got to keep climbing. And I think that's really where we are, where we're at. Going to be unapologetic about it. So I think that's really the mindset that we have.
Well, I appreciate it, Russ. It tells me all I need to know in your mindset. I know you're ready.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining us.
Let's go. Appreciate you, man. Always a pleasure. Go Hawks.
All right, so I'm going to turn to our former Seahawk here, Emrop, first.
Yes.
What do you think has to happen for Russell to have success this year? And let me clearly define what I'm asking in terms of success, because when does he not, right? He's been to the playoffs, I think, every year except for 2017. So I'm talking Super Bowl level success for Russ.
Yeah, MJ, I think that's that thin air he's talking about. That's that air that, you know, he said was thin for guys like him, right? That Super Bowl air. And I think the way to get back to that air is, and I know people might not agree with this, but it's running the football. It's running the football almost 40 times a game. That's when these Pete Carroll teams, I think Russell has graduated to a level of thought where he's not that concerned with just his stats anymore, right? And, you know, people, you know, Seahawk fans, they've heard me be critical of Russell, and I have, because I feel like we have a great fan base in Seattle, and the fan base has treated him well. So I don't know why he wanted to go anywhere, right? But at the end of the day, I think he's graduated to a level of thought where he wants to win Super Bowls. It's no longer about going out there throwing for 45 touchdowns and or leading the league in passing and things like that. I mean, that stuff is nice, but at the end of the day, you want to win Super Bowls. Legacies are built on Super Bowls, not necessarily stats. So I think Russell has definitely graduated to that level of thinking. And when you look at this team, Chris Carson has to be the focal point, especially offensively. You have to be able to stop the run if you're going to play against the Seattle Seahawks team when they're truly cranking at their highest level. And then Russell can be that special Russ, that guy that we've seen throwing 40 touchdowns, that guy that we see that's just deadly accurate from a playmaker standpoint in the red zone and things like that. We can see that at special moments. That's how you win football games. That's how you win football games in January and February. And I think Russell has definitely graduated to that level of thought that that's what he wants out of football right now.
And Rob, you're absolutely right when you talk about Russ wants to win Super Bowls. He wants to win championships. But I think Russ wants to do it his way, too. Look, this is a guy who flirted with leaving the 12s, right? He flirted with saying, hey, you know, if I went somewhere, these couple destinations look good on me. And so this is also a guy who wants to win his way. And when I think about competing against Russ, man, I know y'all could run the football. And heck, y'all ran the heck out the football. But when y'all were at y'all most dangerous, the things that keeps Aaron Donald up at night and Jalen Ramsey up at night is knowing, Jalen, that I got to cover DK Metcalf. But, man, if Aaron Donald doesn't get home, if Russ can just buy just that little bit of time. And, you know, I think that's where the Russ Cook movement kind of comes from. Is this offense is really good, right? You see DK Metcalf. I mean, the dude is Megatron 2.0 with probably a little more speed. But this offense is dangerous when Russ has an opportunity to get the football to some of those guys, right? You heard him talk about Gerald Everett. They went against Gerald Everett coming from the Rams. This dude can get open. And so giving Russ that ability to let him cook, I know you got to run the football, and I agree with you. But, man, you also got to find a nice balance because Russ needs that ball in his hands for this offense to be as dynamic as they can be.
He definitely needs the ball in his hands in the critical moments of games. So I agree with you in that regard. But at the end of the day, ever since we won the Super Bowl in 2013 and they went back in 2014, this team has been trying to let Russ cook. Where has that gotten this team, D-Hall? Right back to training camp this year looking for that other Super Bowl, right? So at the end of the day, you got to go back to the formula, man. You got to go back to the formula. And the formula is run the football. It helps your defense out. And then you let Russ cook in special moments in games. That's how you win Super Bowls in this league with the Seattle Seahawks.
He's certainly trying, guys, but he was one of the most sacked QBs of 2020. Actually, he's had 40 or more sacks per season over the last 8 seasons, which is the most over a 50-year span. That's not nothing, y'all.
Stop running around.
All right. All right, guys. Let's check in on some of the latest headlines from around the league. So Chiefs wide receiver Tyreek Hill did not practice today. Coach said it's tendonitis and not a concern. The Colts called the foot surgery earlier this week for Carson Wentz a success. And offensive lineman Quentin Nelson is having the same surgery. So both will be out for 5 to 12 weeks. X-rays were negative. No issues on Matt Stafford's thumb. If you were wondering there for him, he hit on a helmet in practice yesterday. And the league says at least 90% of the players are fully vaccinated or have at least one shot. All right, Tom Brady is winning the game versus time. Shocking. And after the break, our guys discuss why the 2021 Bucs might be better than before.